Welcome to Reusch USA Ask a Pro. My name is Felix Ortiz, and we are recording from the Reusch headquarters in Englewood, Colorado. And today we will be talking to one of the premier goalkeeping experts in the country, Eric Vaughter. Thank you for being here today, Eric.
Felix, thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And just to give you some information, Eric is regarded as one of the top goalkeeping trainers in the United States. He is a two-time All-South and All-American collegiate player at Warren Wilson College. Evie went on to play professionally for the New York Apollo in the American Soccer League, where he earned the first of 4 national championship rings. Evie currently serves as Director of Goalkeeping for the Tennessee Soccer Club, Northern Warren County Alliance, and the Ohio Galaxies. So thank you again for being here, Eric.
I'm glad to represent the Jurassic period of goalkeeping.
Fantastic. So today we'll be taking questions that you posted on our blog and asked us to ask Eric to answer. So with that, I'll jump right into it. Our first question is Mark from Iowa. Mark would like to know what the difference between cuts and foams in gloves, and do they make a difference out in the field?
You know, Felix, they certainly do, Mark. And Mark, thanks for your question. By the way, you know, if in the future, people, if you send us a question and we use it, we send you a Reusch T-shirt, full Reusch logo on the front to wear around town, so everybody goes, "Oh, you're a goalkeeper," and then you can wear them with your gloves and represent Reusch as well as yourself to the highest ability possible.
So everybody that was submitted and that we chose today will be receiving one of these beautiful shirts.
But getting back to Mark's question, you know, the most important aspect of a goalkeeper glove is the foam palm, because that's what comes into contact with the ball the most. And Reusch has been making goalkeeper gloves and has been a leader in the goalkeeper technology segment since 1974.
Wow.
And over those years, over those decades, obviously, they've come up each year with better and better foam.
Yes.
And, you know, the foam is so important because in the modern game, a goalkeeper has to deal with the ball maybe 6 to 10 to 12 times max in a 90-minute period.
I see.
So you don't want to take a chance on a blunder that would cost your team.
Yes.
And so for the goalkeeper, you know, you want the best foam possible, and you want the foam, you know, ready to go when the game starts, so you're not in danger of making that mistake.
Yes.
The latest foam that we've come up with at Reusch is G2 Ultra Soft.
Oh wow.
Now this is a foam that gives great gripping ability in any weather. You know, dry, wet, snowy, icy. This is the level of the foam that you see the pros on TV wearing.
Yes.
And this foam has been designed to give great grip.
Okay.
And to give decent longevity.
Oh, wow.
In other words, it won't wear out very quickly.
Okay.
You know, because as most goalkeepers know, and certainly goalkeeper parents are learning, you know, if your kid's a new goalkeeper, goalkeeper gloves are a perishable item.
Yeah.
You know, they do wear out.
Okay.
The challenge for a company like Reusch is to find that perfect medium where you've got a good grip, and you've got a decent longevity, and you're getting value for money.
Okay.
And so the various foams that you'll see if you go to ReuschUSA.com,
yes,
and check out our different foams, and at ReuschUSA.com you can sign up for us to mail you a catalog. We've got 17 pages of technology for you to study. And again, the traditional flat palm ensures that most of the time when you're catching a ball, you're getting most of the foam you can to the ball. Okay. The second type of glove, the second type of cut that is important to know about is the roll finger. And if you look closely at this, you'll see that the fingers, the foam wraps 3/4 of the way around them.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Now this is great for young goalkeepers and entry-level goalkeepers, and a lot of pros wear them because it enables you to get the 3/4 wrap, gives you some good support on your fingers, but more importantly, regardless of how you catch a ball, where you put your hands on the ball, and everybody does it a little bit differently.
Sure.
You get the maximum foam to the ball, which increases your grip.
Oh.
Okay, which decreases your mistakes theoretically.
Yes.
Okay, and then the third is what we call a negative cut. We don't have a negative cut right now. We've got it in our 2016 range coming up.
Yes.
Reusch pioneered the negative cut years ago.
Wow.
Okay, the negative cut has the seams on the inside of the glove.
Oh, interesting.
Which makes the glove a little bit tighter.
Okay.
And I always analogize it to a driving glove. There's a lot of older goalkeepers and guys who've been around a while that like a tight glove. Well, the negative cut addresses that fit. But Mark, getting back to your question, the best way to tell on your foams is go to our website and check out what works for you. The best way to tell on a cut of a glove is to go into your local shop and try on various gloves, similar to what you would do with shoes, and figure out which feels best on your hand.
Excellent, excellent. Now that we're on the subject of cuts and gloves, can you talk a little bit about compression gear and how that factors into performance?
Yeah, for sure. You know, there's no doubt that if anybody watches any athletic event, NBA, NHL, NFL, you're aware that the players are all wearing base layer now.
Yes.
You know, a compression garment that keeps your muscles warm, keeps your tendons supple, helps you reduce injury.
Yes.
Let's not forget that as a goalkeeper, you're constantly opening yourself up to injury when you're training to become better.
Yes.
So you want to take every advantage that you can to avoid injury in that situation. You know, I mean, if you're playing, you know what, you're going to get hurt during a game sometimes, and that's okay. But to get hurt in training, that's the worst, because you get, you know, your team suffers, you suffer, and you got nothing out of it.
Yes.
All right. So, but we at Reusch have come up with some compression garments or base layer garments that include.
These are nice.
They're beautiful garments. They feel great on the skin. The difference between us and maybe some of the other companies is we've come up with a technology that allows you to add padding into the garment when you're training.
That's wonderful. And
then remove it, for example, if you don't want it during a game.
Excellent.
And it's a high-level foam for shock attenuation and to absorb shock when you're hitting the ground.
Yes.
We offer a long sleeve shirt with the padded elbows. Excellent. And we offer a long cut compression short with padding on hips and thighs. And again, you know, I always urge goalkeepers, particularly young ones, everybody when they start training, they want to look like the pros. So they want to look sleek and like they're fit. And what a lot of kids don't realize or don't understand is that when the pros get to the point in their training session where they're hitting the ground over and over, they pad up.
Yes.
Okay? And because, you know, you can't, it's the old adage, practice makes perfect, perfect practice makes perfect.
Yes.
And so if you're hobbled by an injury or you're not wanting to hit the ground because you've got a bruise, you're not going to train as well.
Yes.
If you don't train as well, come game time, you're not going to play as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always encourage kids, listen, when we're training, warm up with your team in your t-shirt and your shorts. Always have your base layer on regardless.
Yes.
But when it comes time to train, pad up, put your pads on, train for the 20, 25, 30-minute session, take your pads off and cool down, okay, because you want to avoid injury. And then come game day, with the Reusch stuff, you just take your pads out, you put on your base layer, you put your uniform on, you're good to go, and you know, you're giving your body ample protection and the ability to repel injury.
Yes, excellent. That's great advice and information. Thank you, Eric. So for our next question, we have a question from Mary from Ohio. Now, Mary recently bought her son Ryan a pair of the new Reusch Receptor Prime M1 gloves, and she wants to know what are the optimal field conditions for this type of glove.
Well, the M1 foam was developed by Reusch specifically for, you know,
it's a good-looking glove.
It's a great-looking glove. This is the M1 receptor that Mary has just gotten for Ryan.
Good job, Mary.
And you know, it's got a traditional flat palm. M1 foam still offers the very good gripping properties. Sure. But it enhances the longevity. Ah. Okay, as I mentioned before, goalkeeper gloves are a perishable item. Yes. And you know, any parent who's buying gloves, particularly if they're new, you know, they're goalkeepers, is a new player, and parents maybe haven't spent the money on goalkeeper gloves and don't realize this. You know, we get a lot of calls and emails. How come my gloves only lasted 3 months? Well, if your gloves lasted 3 months, that's pretty good. Yeah. You've been taking care of them.
Yes.
You know, because the average life of a goalkeeper glove, if you're using it every day and you're taking care of it, and I'll get to how to take care of it in a minute, it should last about a season.
Interesting.
And
Really?
which is usually about a high school season is about 3 months.
Okay.
But getting back, the M1 foam is a good glove for any conditions that Ryan is playing in. Dry, wet, snowy, rainy, artificial turf, regular natural grass. You know, it's a good all-round glove for, I would guess that Ryan's probably a high school level goalkeeper.
Yes.
You know, and here's a tip. Here's a tip, Ryan. Mary, make sure he does this. Goalkeepers, whenever they put their gloves on, should always douse the palms with water.
Really? Why is
Soak the palms with water, because the water helps activate the stickiness of the foam.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
And so you're getting two benefits from the water. One is obviously stickiness on the foam, which helps you catch the ball better, gives you a better grip.
Okay.
More importantly, maybe, is that the water reduces the friction and abrasion factors of the ball when it hits the foam.
Wow.
You know, which makes the foam last longer.
Yes.
Okay, so, you know, and I always, you know, tell my goalkeepers, make sure your gloves are wet before we start the session, because it helps them catch the ball better, which obviously makes them feel better about themselves. We got better goalkeepers.
Yes.
But it also makes the gloves last longer.
Oh, that's great.
Then the most important thing that you can do after your training session or after your games, wash your gloves every day.
Excellent.
Okay, every time you use them. Most young kids take off their gloves, throw them in the bag, get the gloves out the next day, and train. Okay. By washing your gloves every day, you're keeping that foam clean. If you're keeping the foam clean, it has greater sticky ability on the ball, greater grip. Okay. And so this is Mary. Make sure Ryan's doing this. This is called Reusch Reinvigorate Glove Wash. This is great stuff.
Excellent.
Sure, you may. After every session, or game, or training session, take the gloves home, put them in the washer, set the water temperature on cold or warm, set the washing cycle on delicate, throw the gloves in, a couple of squirts of the Reinvigorate, let the gloves wash in the washing machine.
Interesting.
When they're finished, pull them out, air dry them in the shade, away from direct sunlight, away from a direct heat source, away from fluorescent light. Okay? Use them the next day, rinse and repeat, as they say.
Excellent.
And that will increase the life of your gloves a good 20 to 25%.
Oh, that's fantastic. Reusch Reinvigorate. Keep them gloves going. Thank you, Eric. So we have time for one more question. This is from Lars in Utah. And Lars would like to know if there's any difference in the type of glove that he uses for game day versus practice.
Two scenarios here. And I'll give you one. I don't know what level goalkeeper Lars is, but the general rule of thumb is that as your game gloves wear out, they become your training gloves.
Yes.
And you buy another pair of game gloves.
Okay.
So you use your training gloves or your old game gloves for your 3 or 4 days of training before your game. Then the day before the game, maybe you bring your new gloves. You catch the ball 10, 15 minutes, get used to those, and then obviously on game day you use your new gloves. Okay. Again, let me remind you, wash your gloves, both pairs, after each session that you're training or playing.
Okay.
Now Reusch, as I've said before, has been in this a long time, and we've come up with a foam for the goalkeeper that, for example, in collegiate soccer, a lot of times coaches will buy training gloves for their goalkeepers and a game glove.
Okay.
We have a foam called R2 Super Solid, which is a smooth palm, smooth foam, but the ingredients in it allow it to take much more wear and tear, which is what you would get in training. Okay, but still give you a good enough grip that you're assimilating game conditions.
Interesting.
And the R2 Super Solid can be used in any conditions.
Oh, that's great.
And then, will last longer, and then you use your game gloves for games. And again, if you take care of your gloves and you wash them and you make sure you wet them before every session, gloves should last you about 3 months. And that's considering you're using them every day. Now your game gloves, if you're only using them on games and you're alternating your gloves, they should last a little bit longer.
Okay.
But the Reinvigorate Glove Wash will increase the life of your gloves 20 to 25%.
I think that's all the time we have for today. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Felix, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And we look forward to, we'll be posting some more questions, asking some more questions, and feel free to respond. So don't forget to follow us on our blog and social media. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Tumblr, YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram, and the Reusch USA Goalkeeper's Glove. And you can also see the links below the video. Thank you for your time today.